time is ticking today. I want to get you ready for tomorrow. So grab a pen or a marker and let's get through this. So true and false, this goes back to the quiz as well. We always have corresponding angles, but we don't always know if they're going to be congruent. The only time they're congruent is if the lines that are intersected by that transversal are parallel. Okay, so this would be false. They're not always. Like if you had something like this, right? These two would be considered corresponding, but they're definitely not congruent, right? Only when these lines that are cut by the transversal that you're traveling on, if these are parallel, then yes. So it's not always. Consecutive interior angles are complementary. That'd be false because they would be supplementary, if anything. Okay, so right there. Vertically opposite angles are always congruent. Yes, this one you don't need parallel lines for that to be true. Okay. Sum of interior angles in a triangle are always supplementary. That is true. They're always equal to 180 if you add up all the angles in a triangle. If two lines are parallel, then the alternate exterior angles are always congruent, and that is true. That should have given you a hint to go back to the top, right? You need more details than just they are congruent always. If consecutive interior angles are congruent, then the two lines that lie in between are parallel, and that would be false because, right, if anything, we would want consecutive interior to be supplementary, add up to 180, right? So if they're congruent, for sure, it's not happening. Okay. So they're your true-false statements. And now let's look at some naming. This is just to review. Consider the following. So A and B, these ones here would be supplementary, or I would accept anything supplementary. I would also accept adjacent. If you said adjacent, because they're right next to each other, I'm okay with that too. They're not vertically opposite. That's not correct. Okay. A and G are alternate interior. Alternate interior angles. D and H, right? You've got DH here. Those are consecutive interior. So one mark for each. Consecutive interior angles. CD, we've got C and D. Those are vertically opposite angles. C and E, those are corresponding. GF, where are you, GF? We're here. Alternate exterior. AF, where is AF? AF, these would be corresponding. Okay. So just a review, can you spot what the name would be? And then it would be, furthermore, you would want to check if the property, if they're congruent. Some of them you're looking for congruent, some of them you're looking for supplementary, right? To show whether or not lines are indeed parallel. All right, so one mark each. So what are we at there? 7, right? 7, and then the top we had a 6. So 13 so far, and then we'll do the last one here. The first thing to notice is they are alternate interior. So alternate interior angles are congruent because of this, right? We know that they're congruent. So 36x minus 9 is exactly the same as 63x minus 90. Right? So you're not adding them and making them equal to 180. You're saying they're exactly equal to each other. So bring all x's to one side. 36x minus 63x is equal to, on the other side, you've got negative 90. This negative 9 comes over adding. Okay. And it's too early in the morning. I'm just going to quickly, oh, that's negative 27x. And this is negative 81. Okay. Divide both sides by negative 27. Three. X is 3. 3 degrees, and really what you're finding, how many, right? 3 degrees. So I would give you, I would already give you 2 marks for this. Like I'd for sure give, sorry, 1 mark here and 1 mark for the correct final answer. So 2 marks for this step. And then I'm asking you to find A and B. Okay, we know that A and this expression are vertically opposite. They're the same. So to find angle A, I'm just gonna go 36 times 3 minus 9. That's 99 degrees. And what do we know about B in that case? Should also be 99, right? These are alternate exterior. So we can just say B is equal to 99 as well. Or you can say B is equal to 63x minus 90. Hopefully you get the same thing. And I do get the same thing. So 1 mark for each of these. So we'll make this last one out of 4, right? So 7 and 3, that's, sorry, 7 and 6, 13, and 4 is 17. So this page, the front page is worth 17 marks in all. So if you got this wrong, if you went, this plus this is equal to 180, I would go -2 for this whole thing. But I would still give you a mark for each one. If you find A and B afterwards, I'd still give you the marks there. If you set it up right, but somehow don't get 3, that's a -1. Then I would still honor these 2 answers based on whatever you got for X, right? So that's how I mark. That's how everybody should mark, right? Because you don't keep on taking off. Okay, backside. Please tell me where you start. I'm going to start with C here, vertically opposite. So C is 110. I'm just using vertically opposite angles are congruent. There we go. And then next you can decide. By the way, right, you notice that, right, these 2 lines are parallel. Don't be using corresponding or anything like that with something in between that collides, right? You can only follow one transversal at a time. So let's say you follow this one. Okay, so it's in between the parallel lines. You bring this one in there. I don't know if you see it, but those are alternate interior. Okay, so A is equal to 27. That's my second step that I took. And that's alternate interior angles are congruent. That's what I've used there. And maybe write it in here. It may help you to see what else you can do. D, I'll do that one next. These are right beside each other. It's a straight angle. Oh, by the way, I would accept that too on the previous page here. A and B. If you said straight angle or something like that, I'd be fine with that too. Anyways, I'm going to find D here. That's my third step. I'm just going to go 180 minus 137. That is 43? 43, yeah. And that is straight angle. It's a property, right? So 43. Sometimes you still get half a mark if you have the correct justification, but the wrong number here. Okay, I do look at that. So this is 43, got that. How would you find B? Oops, can't see. How would you find B? Okay, let's say corresponding alternate exterior. Well, this one is outside, right? If these are the parallel lines, this is outside. If you wanted to use alternate exterior, you would need to know this one here. This one, right? These 2 are alternate exterior. So you can, right? This is 137. right? So you could use that, but as is, what are these two called here? They're corresponding, okay? So either way, whatever you do, some students like show me work that they've done on here. I'm very okay with that, as long as you show me what you've done, right? So this is 137 regardless. You could either use corresponding angles are congruent, or you could use alternate exterior angles. I would say if you use alternate exterior, you need to show me on the diagram that you've done this, right? And some of you even did this. You're like, that is, I use vertically opposite angles are congruent, right? I've used that to come up with that. Now I have my alternate exterior. Sure, you can extend lines, do whatever you must to help you out. It's not off limits, right? To extend lines, it's okay. All right, so 1 mark for each. So half and half, half for the number, half for the justification. Okay. Next. For each of the following, indicate whether or not lines are parallel. You must provide an explanation. So here you would say something like that. First, come up with the name, right? You'd say corresponding angles, right? And then you say they are corresponding and they are congruent. Therefore, lines are parallel. I think I was pretty happy with most of your justifications on the quiz. Here you would say alternate exterior angles are not congruent. Therefore, lines are not parallel. This is like the easiest way, the easier examples where it's just like right there, you just have to look at it and go with it. What about C? C requires a bit more work. And now I realize that you probably didn't have a whole lot of space for this. But let's try this right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find this one because I know these are corresponding. Okay, so I'm going to use sum of triangle to figure out A. So angle A is 180 minus 59 minus 64. That is 123 here, right? So 57, yeah. Thank you. I'm a little rusty. When I teach intro or pre-cal for a while, then I'm back. My mental math skills are like this. And then when I do applied, it's all back to calculators. I'm a little rusty, okay? So 57, right? So you find 57 and then you say corresponding angles are congruent, therefore parallel. On a test, I'll tell you like line EG and DF or whatever, and then you just use the proper term for that, right? So a little bit of work, and then you come up with your final answer. All right. Last but not least, tiling. So if you watch the lesson, you'll know what to do. If you didn't watch the lesson, you'll be like, huh? Right? So you need to go back. So sometimes I will assign that for homework, right? For you to watch something. Can you use a regular triangle and a dodecagon to tile a floor? If so, what combination can you use? Right? So you can show me the work or just say interior angle of a triangle is 60 degrees. Interior angle of a dodecagon is, well, got to do some math, right? 12 minus 2 times 180 divided by 12. That ends up being 150 degrees. Okay. So now you want to see, will this work? What combination? So this is what I would suggest you do. You start with 360 and start subtracting, right? By the way, you have to use a combination. You can't just use triangles, right? Because then you could just use 6 triangles and that would work. You have to use at least one of each shape. That's the implication here. So if you go minus 60, you're at 300. If you go minus 150, you have 150 left. So this is your triangle, this is your dodecagon. Okay. And then you can clearly tell, oh, I can just use another dodeca here to get me that 0 difference. That's what you want, right? You want to be able to completely cover the interior angles. Did I use my iPad on the video to show you how to tile? Yeah, I may have. Okay, so when you get, so you got interior angles, then you come up with this, some sort of work there, and then you say yes, using 2 dodecagons and 1 triangle will tessellate, or will allow you to uh, uh, tile the floor. Okay. So you have to use at least one of each shape that is mentioned. And there are there are different variations here. Sometimes I ask you, what is the third shape that you must use, right? And if that is the case, they're actually asking you to solve for the number of sides, the backwards for finding number of sides. So you can look that up. It's on page 4950. That's it for this AC.